7 o'clock. We have a quorum. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming. Anybody make a motion to approve the minutes?
President, y'all have 2 sets of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the work-study minutes from the October 20th meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Courtney, take the roll.
Greg Van Lair.
Aye.
Nancy Levitt.
Aye.
Chris Gerald.
Aye.
Aye, the motion's been passed, 5-0. Thank you.
I move to approve the minutes from the 10/20/21 council meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Will you please take the roll?
Greg Van Lair.
Aye.
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 David Winters.
Aye.
Tom Hager.
Aye. The motion's been passed, 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay, next on the agenda is anybody for public comment?
I've had no request to speak tonight, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the public meeting, we have a ordinance 32, 2021, Auger annexation, public hearing. Town planner.
Good evening. This was introduced on October the 20th. This is the public hearing for the Auger annexation. The reason for the annexation is they're wanting to hook up to sanitary sewer. And I think that's going to get done through the recently approved Quail West subdivision to the north. That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
All right, any questions, anybody?
This will need to be gavelled open for public comment.
Okay, I'm going to gavel the meeting open. Any comments? I'll gavel the meeting closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, ordinance 33, 2021, request for additional handicap parking. Town manager, please.
This is up for introduction tonight only. This is to introduce 2 new handicap parking spots at Indiana and Marion Street respectively. If you'll see, we struck a spot that was actually in our ordinances north of the intersection. The spot hasn't been there since that parking lot was built. And so what we did is we just moved it to the south of the intersection, changed that wording, and then we added another spot to the east of the intersection. What this allows is the 2 handicap spots to be in proximity to our ADA sidewalk compliance, and it makes it a little easier for people with disabilities to get into the library. One of the things we've talked with Public Works, we are going to leave. It's tough to tell with Beacon, but there's a square right here. It's like a loading zone, so to speak. It's too small to be a parking spot to move anything. So we've agreed that it's not in the ordinance. We're going to leave that as a loading zone for the library so that they can continue to manage in a fashion that they've been managing for years.
All right, any comments? Okay, thank you. Next is Mark. Do you have anything for the?
Would you like me to be brief, sir, or would you like me?
Yes.
Okay. The planning department's been preparing letters for plan commission packets in the November plan commission meeting, working with an owner on a vacant lot on 10th Street for annexation. RDC will meet November the 18th instead of the 11th, and BZA does not meet this month as there were no new applications. Stormwater department, new leak in the crawl at Town Hall will be repaired on the 12th. Passing lane, turn lanes are starting construction November the 9th on Main Street there in front of Beasley's and Woodland Terrace, I believe. And then waiting on materials for drainage work in Commerce Park, which again council approved a couple of years ago through the TIF money that was located in our budget. 10 new single-family dwellings for October. The new chiller was set today. Its first startup will be November the 8th. And roof repairs on Hargrave Hall are scheduled for mid-November. I'm going to tell you what, those people are true professionals that put that chiller in today. I've never seen an operation like that. They picked that thing up, picked the old one up, took it out, put the new one in, in probably half a day. Yeah, it was the most amazing thing. They had a crane down here. I've always said I can take a fire truck and park it in where a Volkswagen Beetle's supposed to be, but you put an articulation on that thing and I'm done. I couldn't move that thing if it's to save me, so.
Did Barry get a discount because they didn't have to stay too long?
He did say he got some of a bonus on something, but he wouldn't tell me what it was. Yeah.
There you go.
Wastewater, they're shutting down their UV system for the season. They're going to clean and do in-season maintenance for winter storage on the UV light banks. Install heat tape and on the water line for the fine screen and winterize. Do lift station checks. They've received construction permits for the North Interceptor and the South Interceptor, which is exciting. And they're working on getting pricing together to extend the wastewater main line from Janetta Court to North 10th Street. Doing that will allow us to actually serve 10 more houses. The police department helped out their chaplains with a trunk or treat at West Bridge last weekend. They helped with the parks, with the trunk or treat in Gary Aiken Park. They had extra patrols during trick or treat with no problems. And Officer Wolf and Sergeant Butler have completed instructor development. Public Works has completed the milling on Heritage Drive. The curbs have been poured and cured. Patching of holes, milling revealed a 15 by 30 clay area which could not be stabilized. So it has been excavated by 2 feet, rebuilt to ensure stability, and then it'll be patched. It was patched on November 1st. Paving of Heritage is still scheduled for tomorrow, weather depending. Scares on the Square was Friday the 29th. DPW participated by closing all square streets and ensuring all DDP items were taken care of. Scarecrow remnants will be removed on 11/2. DPW will be inventorying and ordering necessary Christmas decorations this week. American flags and military banners will be removed, and Christmas decorations will begin to be installed on 11/15 in preparation for the Square Christmas event on 11/26. Asphalt, DPW has received numerous calls for potholes in streets. They'll be focusing on pothole and asphalt repairs until leaf collection begins on November 29th. And pavement surface evaluation, they've been working on the PASER rating. It's something we have to do to get grants. And the Title VI ADA transportation program is an ongoing thing that Superintendent Pitcher's trying to make sure that we get everything done, so. There's the email. I knew I printed it and put it somewhere. Fire department is at 1,693 runs for the year. 51 runs last week, up 336 runs from this time last year. They've done some fire training at Plainfield and live fire training in Lebanon and some night training. They've been doing PR details at Head Start, Sunshine. Last month was Fire Prevention Month, just so you know. They worked on Scares on the Square, Trunk or Treat, West Bridge, and then they had station trick-or-treating at Station 191, and they're in the middle of hose testing, ladder testing, and pump testing. Or no, he's now complete. Looked at the date. The Parks Department is getting Winterland set up. They're winterizing the park. It should be complete by Monday. Indiana Parks and Recreation Conference are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, thus me sitting in this chair. They're finishing fixes at the first Lions regular season game, which I believe is this weekend. And last but not least, the Water Department is finishing reading meters. Their monthly water plant operations report was filed with IDEM. They're working Section 3 Kensington for water main pressure test and samples. They're cleaning backwash tank at the treatment facility, and they have put out notices to prepare for hydrant flushing that'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. They have put out signs, and then we'll put it on our social media as well. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mark? Any questions from you, or would you like to make a comment?
Oh, I just had the pleasure of having 18 Jeeps participate in the trunk or treat that the Parks Department did, and had a good turnout. Had a good time, and yeah, that was it. So nothing further for me.
Look nice. How about you, Dave?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Scares on the Square. Sorry, and Scares on the Square was a great evening. I think, in spite of all the rain that was there, a lot of people that turned out and just had a good time. And Greg Irby made some pretty good apple cider hot drink. I don't know what you call it. So anyway, it was good to see that. I always love seeing those things happen here at the Square in Danville, and looking forward to the Christmas tree lighting. So if you'll indulge me for just a minute, I told Tom I had a 60-minute speech planned because I knew it was going to be a short meeting, but I don't. That's for next time. So, we obviously, our number one focus in Danville is Danville things. We serve on the board of a small town in Indiana, and that's what we need to focus on. But I think it's important to pay attention to statewide events and national events too, because we're still part of the state of Indiana. We're part of the country of the United States. So, a couple things I just wanted to mention. They just authorized the vaccine for kids aged 5 to 11, and I'm not going to talk about whether or not that's a good thing. But the one thing I am going to say is that if there's a lot of states, maybe not a lot yet, but there are some states that are starting to talk about mandating vaccines across the board, or at least in schools, this particular vaccine. And so hearing some of the chatter at the state level, I think it's important that if any of us, and anybody who might happen to hear this, who listens to it on YouTube, if you are opposed to vaccine mandates and you want the Indiana legislature to get involved and do something about that, then I would encourage you to reach out to the Speaker of the House, Todd Houston. His email is h37@iga.in.gov, to let him know how you feel about that. I did not verify this because I heard it, but I did hear on the radio that their comment was they only had a few thousand people say they were against it, so they don't think it's a big deal. Now, that could be rhetoric, but it still underscored the fact that if it's something that you're passionate about, you need to reach out. And I thought it was a great election yesterday in Virginia. I think, what they stated yesterday, and this does come back home because I have a child in school in Danville, and I've been involved in some other groups that are trying to push back against the incessant, continuous COVID mandates and policies, but also other of the things like CRT and SEL that are permeating and have permeated our schools for a long time. And so I think that was a statement yesterday in Virginia that they don't want that, and that parents actually still matter. And some of the comments that McAuliffe said about parents not having a say in their kids' education, I think is abhorrent. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Nancy?
Thanks, Dave. I just wanted to reiterate that Scares on the Square was really fun, and everything about it was done first rate. Too bad it rained, but there were still a lot of people there. And I remember back in the olden days when I was a little kid, we had a Halloween festival. Every Halloween, it was a big deal in Danville. And it was held inside the school building, which is now the government center. And I mean, everybody came, really. And this Scares on the Square had a lot of those same activities. It was outside except for going into the library for the stories, going into the Royal for the movies. And but it was just really cool, and there were so many people there, and they were all walking around in the rain, and I just thought, how many people will come maybe next year when it doesn't rain. So keep it in mind. It was really a big success, even though the weather was bad.
Thank you, Nancy.
Ditto on those comments from the square this weekend. I even had friends from out of town come, and they just love this place. So, good work on the comprehensive plan. I like the direction. I do think we need to definitely identify measurables and keep that. So, we'll work together as a team to do that. But we're heading in a really good direction. So.
Okay. Kelly Benedito, I hear all the certificates for old diesels has been passed, and they're starting to rebuild now for a restaurant? Do you know the timing on that? Yeah, Barry, did you finally sign that?
What kind of certificates are you talking about? The permits have been issued. They've already started work. They're looking at like 8 to 12 weeks. It's a long process, so they're going to make it look awesome, though, I will say that.
Well, it's glad the permits finally got permitted. So, okay. Hey. Anything else from anybody?
Move to approve the claim docket.
Claim dockets, yes.
Second.
Second thing, everybody in favor of claim dockets?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming. Meeting